Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Around the Block. Jacqueline and
Yep.
I both, she has and I had pet lizards, but none like this.
No.
This is a 5-foot long water monitor lizard, which are venomous. If they bite you, they don't necessarily kill humans, but the infection could kill the human.
Right.
All the bacteria mixed with the venom, everything gross. Ooh, gross.
Yeah.
This person, this family in Massachusetts, had this illegal pet. They didn't have a permit for it. They have razor sharp teeth, razor sharp claws, and it slithered out of a window. So this entire area of Massachusetts was on high alert. Multiple different teams of law enforcement were on the lookout for it. And we do have video of this guy. And there he is. His name is Goose. Not sure why they chose Goose for a lizard, but law enforcement were on a goose hunt for Goose.
Yeah.
And they were shocked that they found him. It was 2.5 weeks later. They found him in a forest there after somebody was hiking and said, there's this gigantic lizard over here. So it took them several days to figure out exactly. They knew the area. And so what Goose had done was he took refuge in this little, right there. It was in the root, I should say, of a tree, underneath the roots of a tree, like that. So,
Oh my gosh.
they rescued him like that. But what they did was they lured him out with chicken. And so every day there was like different sightings of people would see it, like while law enforcement were looking for it. Oh, we saw him here. This is the area. And they would go and he wasn't there, but they would leave chicken out and then the chicken was gone. So they knew he was in that area. I cannot believe that they found him. But what these officers said was, had he been not a pet, had he not been domesticated, had he been wild, there's no way they would have found him. But he's used to being fed, not having to search for his own food.
Oh.
So he would come out and eat the food and go back. So now he is in a shelter. It's actually called a traveling zoo, but I believe that he's going to stay put. They're building an enclosure for him there, and he's going to live out the rest of his days there.
Wow.
But when they're domesticated, I wonder if it takes the wild out of them, because that's a powerful bite they have. Not as deadly as a Gila monster or a rattlesnake, but similar.
So I remember this one instance where my bearded dragon Puff got out and he was gone it was probably 4 days. And I searched for this lizard like Honey, I Shrunk the Kid style, because I truly believed he had gotten out the back door. And I searched every blade of grass, every inch of my house, just distraught that my kid's pet was gone. And I remember I was sitting on the couch, and I'd really given up that we were going to find him. And out of the corner of my eye, I see him clinging to the brick wall.
Oh, wow.
Just hanging about 5 feet up. He had been there for days.
Wow. He probably didn't know what to do.
No.
He was probably scared to death.
He was probably hungry.
One of my lizards before my bearded dragon, my mom found him. He got out, and I don't know why he was just roaming my house. I guess he got out of the terrarium, out of my room. But she saw when she opened the sliding glass door to let our dogs out, it ran out with them.
No.
And she was like, same thing. That's what she said.
Yeah.
And so she chased the lizard, and it was only like this big.
Right.
She chased it around the house like 2 or 3 times. And finally it ran under, our concrete patio had like some holes between the concrete and the grass.
Yeah.
And he ran under there. And so she set out a little trap.
Yeah.
And then when he came out, she got him. I cannot believe I was gone to school the whole time. And so I've never forgotten that story. I'm like, wow, my mom's a hero.
I was about to say, your mom, God bless that woman.
I know. I need to thank her again. It's been several years. But these water monitor lizards, let's take a look again at that video. When I was 15, I lived in Malaysia, and this is where these are native in Southeastern Asia. And I went to boarding school on a beach, and it was for missionary kids. And so my parents lived 12 hours away via train, but my sister and I were at this boarding school, and this beach was not a swimming beach. The water was full of jellyfish, just, not the best. We would go kayaking and fishing, but you don't swim in it. Anyway, my friend and I we hopped over the beach wall, and there are piles of rocks to serve as wave breakers.
Okay.
And these monitor lizards we would see them, congregating around the rocks because they were trying to eat the rats that were in there. And then so we hopped down on the beach and we were getting ready to go kayaking or something. Well, this one comes up to us and starts running, and they can run up to, I want to say 25, 27 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
And we were laughing our heads off, running as fast as we could, laughing our heads off, jumped back up onto the beach wall and then over. We were like, oh my gosh, that was so funny. We just got chased by a giant lizard, not knowing that they are venomous, that they have venomous bites.
You would have gotten in trouble when you got home.
I mean, well, we lived in dorms.
I mean, if your mom would have found out, I feel like she would have been upset.
She would have been upset with the school because there were no warnings. Like, hey, if you see a monitor lizard, run. Like,
yeah, don't
try to
don't
play
encourage play.
Yeah.
What a well, I'm glad it didn't get you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. I appreciate it. I told Kevin Ogle that story, and he said, had it bitten you, that would have explained a lot. So thanks, Kevin. But we had several memorable experiences there, not just with the monitor lizards, but like I was telling you, the water was jellyfish infested.
Oh, okay.
And so I was on the kayaking team, and we would kayak out to this little abandoned island off the coast and then come right back. It was within like a half mile. And gorgeous. There were caves with like open to the sky, and the light would shine down just right with the rays of light. It was beautiful. Mm-hmm. When we were going back, it was hot when we were trying to get back to shore. And so my roommate, Sarah, said, I'm just going to jump out for a second and hop right back in. And I was like, okay, you know, what? It's up to you. So she did. And she came up. As soon as she jumped in the water, that splash, all of these jellyfish all around us rose to the surface.
Oh, wow.
And it was just like an instantaneous and then she comes back up with one on her face, and it wrapped around her body. These are like 10-foot long jellyfish, not like man o' wars, but like actual just jellyfish. They're super long. And it was wrapped from her face through her body, and she was stung everywhere. So then I put her in the boat. So it's just me paddling against the waves. You kind of have to go perpendicular. So it took about 40 minutes to get back. And she's like in massive pain with, you know, it feels like bee stings all over you. So by the time we get her back to shore, back to someone at the dorm, and to this little hospital, it was like a little Malaysian clinic that they had there, she's in massive pain, and several hours have passed at this point. And so, again, we're all missionary kids, so we're religious, and she's laying on the table, and she calls up to God, and she says, Jesus, help me. And the nurse goes, I'm coming. It's like she thought she was saying, Jesus, help me.
Yeah.
But so many stories there. Sarah ended up being just fine. The concern was that she actually got stung in her eyeball, and so we were worried about that.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
What a story.
Everything. Yeah, we're friends to this day. We had created so many memories. That's just the tip of the iceberg. So I could go on and on and on all day. Yeah.
Well, this next story is not super uplifting, but concerning for parents going back to school with back to school starting.
Okay.
Whooping cough cases are on a rise across the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Vaccinations are down.
It's because kids are entering school, they're seeing in kindergarten, and a lot of these children are unvaccinated. Hence, we're seeing a rise in whooping cough.
Mm-hmm. More kindergartners than ever right now are coming down with it. Mm-hmm. So the parents have opted out of vaccinations, and you know, to each their own, but like it's back, and there's a reason why.
It's back. So, I guess it's technically called pertussis, and it's a bacteria infection that has severe coughing. And young babies are the most vulnerable, as well as the elderly.
Yeah. And then also for whooping cough, if you're pregnant, you're expected to get another booster because you don't want to pass that on to your baby.
And I remember when my child was really little, brand new baby, it was also advised, you know, people who are going to be with child should have the vaccine regularly.
Yes. So, you know, a lot of people are afraid of vaccines. There's all kinds of different information out there. You can believe it if you want to. But this is what happens when kids aren't vaccinated. We do see increases, just like we did with measles, mumps, and rubella. I mean, the measles came back in several places. So, this is something else.
And the CDC says the rise in cases is from a record number of children not getting vaccinated. More than 6 times as many whooping cough cases were reported last year compared to 2023 by the CDC. And so hopefully people will get on board with vaccines. This is a great time to be thinking about it with enrolling your children or just getting ready to go back to school.
Yes, for sure. And it's almost that time.
I
I
know.
mean, next week, and all these, my kids are like, ugh. And I am too.
Yeah, I am too, because it means I have to hustle a kid up in the morning before coming into the station.
I mean, it makes the morning more chaotic. I mean,
Yes.
school's super important, of course, but yeah, more chaos for the mamas and daddies.
I know.
So, okay, when we come back, we're going to talk about this weird thing. I've never heard of this. There's this zoo that is requesting that you donate your small pets so they can feed them to their animals. We'll explain all the details after this.